This video is an update on where we are in the Brightline service, and I also caught two different trains at the Fort Lauderdale Brightline station. The first one was in the middle of the night. I was out setting up a time-lapse camera, and the railroad signals just started going crazy, opening and closing and opening and closing, and I could hear the train in the background. But when I got up to the tracks, I could see that the bridge over the New River, the drawbridge over the New River, which is just a little bit less than a block to the right of where I'm looking at this crossing here. I speed this video up just to be able to get through it quicker. What's happened here is that a Brightline train has arrived at the Fort Lauderdale station, and it's sitting on the freight bypass tracks. So there's two tracks that go through the station, and then there's one track that goes around the station. And this train is sitting on the bypass track beside the station, not in the station. But it's come south from West Palm. There it is, sitting on the freight bypass. The train has come south from West Palm, and it sat outside the station here for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Just in the next few minutes when I was looking here, it's actually pulling out of the station, which is what's causing these signals to go. So the signals are a little bit messed up. I guess they don't know which way the train is going, but that train is pulling away. The train is already gone, and I'm just walking across the track here to show these two tracks. This is the northbound track through the station, and then on the other side here is the southbound track. I don't know if this ramp is only an emergency exit or if it's going to be used for passengers to be able to enter and exit the station, but it lets out onto the sidewalk between the tracks. I'm going to do a quick, I did a little speed up on it to see here, but I walked up this ramp and just look around the platform. These monitors, it's hard to see, but the monitors are showing a sort of revolving Brightline logo. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just thought I would grab some footage. So then, that was about a week ago. This was the day before yesterday, which was October 10th. December 10th, 2017. I caught another train. This is the Brightline Red. I don't actually know which train it was that was there in the middle of the night. It left as I was approaching the station. But this one sat here for several hours. There was a holiday party of some type going on in the upper part of the station, and they were touring the train as part of their festivities. I think it was a employee party of some type. That's what one of the security guards told me. So I got some footage of the train, and there's some nice close-up pictures of the station and the train at the end of this video. Now, as far as where we are on the service, supposedly they're running 10 trains a day this week as sort of trial trains, empty trains. They've been running test trains for weeks, and actually for months, but now they're going to do 10 trains a day on a regular schedule. I think they're going to try to run the trains on the schedule that they plan to run on. The trains will only go between West Palm and Fort Lauderdale. They won't go to Miami. The Fort Lauderdale to Miami leg is supposed to open in I think February next year sometime. The Orlando to West Palm is going to be in 2020, they say, if ever. There's the problem with that leg is to get from West Palm to Orlando, they actually have to build track. The rest of the line from West Palm to Miami is on existing track, except places like this where they built a station, and they had to obviously to move the tracks in order to put the station in between the tracks, and then they added the bypass track. So there's maybe a mile of track that's affected by this. I'm not really sure how far the three tracks go northbound out of here, but the three tracks converge almost immediately to the south of the station because they cross Broward Boulevard, and then within about a block is the New River, and there's a drawbridge over the New River that's only two tracks, and they didn't change that. So also in the beginning period where after the trial runs, at some point they'll start taking passengers. The trains will operate at a top speed of 80 miles an hour. They're supposed to eventually go 120 miles an hour in Palm Beach County, but they're going to be limited to 80 miles an hour for now. Now, as far as the fares go, they still haven't announced. As far as I know, I looked just today, I was scouring the various sources looking for what the fares are going to be, and they still haven't said. But what they're saying is that the fares will be comparable or cheaper than driving. Now, there's another train. This is on the eastern tracks, we call them, the tracks that are running through the downtown. There's another set of tracks to the west of 95 where the Amtrak and the Tri-Rail trains run. And the Tri-Rail train, I think, is something like $7. The fare is something like $7 from West Palm to Miami, which is actually pretty cheap. That's a subsidized train. The Brightline is a privately owned train that pretty much has to fund itself. As far as I know, it's getting no subsidies. It may be getting some help with bonds or something like that, but it's not going to get operating subsidies as far as I know. So the cost of driving from West Palm to Miami, what they say in their materials is think gas and parking. Well, driving from West Palm to Miami, the gas and parking is probably, I don't know, $30. And parking is, depending on where you park, is anywhere from 5 to 10, 15. Depends on I don't know how you figure in the cost of parking compared to the cost of the train. So whatever it is, I think the fare for this Brightline train is going to be higher than the Tri-Rail train. Hopefully, the one difference is that the Tri-Rail train, at least on the current schedules, makes a bunch of stops, and it takes about 2 hours. And this train really only has the Miami station, this station in Fort Lauderdale, and then the West Palm station. So it's an express train. All trains, all the time, always express trains. And if they really do get the speed up to 120 miles an hour, then this train will be a lot faster. One thing I just wanted to say here is I'm now at the other end of the station. This is the opposite end from Broward Boulevard. And I just wanted to show here that if you walk across these tracks, the tracks are very far apart here in order to have the station in between these two tracks. And then there's the freight bypass. So if you're crossing this on foot and the train signal starts to go off, currently anyway, these red lights starts to flash and then the gates come down. If you're partway across there, you don't have to, even if you run, you can't really get to the other side before the rest of the gate comes down. Now, one other thing I wanted to show here is how the bus station is right next to the train station. That's the bus station. It's the central hub for the Fort Lauderdale mass transit system, and then there's a Brightline train station. There's no ramp or there's no bridge or anything between them. There's no tunnel. You have to walk. You have to exit the station and walk around on the sidewalk on the street to the train station. But it's literally right next door. So the rest of this is just snapshots of the station and the train. There's also a snapshot of a fire hydrant that's sort of a pet potty area. Anyway, just to wrap up on the fares, even though the Brightline will be more expensive, probably double, maybe even more, than the Tri-Rail, I think that people will use it anyway because of the convenience. It's going to be, in the long run, it's going to be faster, and the location of the stations is more convenient, and people pay for convenience. So, and also, I guess it remains to be seen, because I haven't actually been in the Brightline train yet, whether the trains will actually be nicer, more comfortable, or what. But in any event, I predict success in the long run. So that's my update on the Brightline. Best information I have. Feel free to drop me a note, comment, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.